Oh no, how was I going to introduce this? Kathrin is here. We're going to do some ring juggling together, some painless ring juggling. We're going to teach people how to not hurt themselves with ring juggling. And it comes up because Juliana was saying, what's this thing on your finger? She's like, is that some dirt? I was like, no, I was learning a new ring trick. It was vertical axis pancakes, which I'm going to try again later on. So I've done lots of workshops where how not to hurt yourself with juggling rings. Should we do it?
Yes.
You've done this before, let's do it.
I have.
All right.
It's been a while.
So the first thing you want to do is, if you're pulling something down over your head, is not hit yourself in the face. All right, so what you normally do is when you see people learning to do this trick, they're like, I'm going to put this over your head. And what they do, they just smack themselves in the face like this. And that's not how you want to do it. To get it onto your face without hitting yourself in the back of the head, you put it here on the back, you hit here, and then you pull it down over. Because then it's really difficult to ever hit yourself in the face. Yeah?
It's basically impossible.
It's basically impossible.
What happens if you have a really big face and it doesn't fit through the ring?
Well, use bigger rings. Bigger rings, yeah, we were the same thing. Alright, so you hit it against the back of the head and pull it down. And also the same when you take it off. If you're looking down when you take the ring off, ow, oh, ow, like that. So keep it back, keep it on the back of your head, and then you pull it back offwards, off your head, back off your head, and you miss your face. Alright.
And it looks great if you want to do a pull down as well.
Yeah, it hits the back of your head and goes over, misses your face. The other way that you can hit your face is if you're doing a pancake throw and it landing on your head and it comes over and you see how it bounced here and then off my face there? So it's actually a different thing. You want it to make it hit the back of your head so as it comes over. You see that? It hit there and then it just fell down. You do this as well, do you? When you catch it like that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like that, you see? I put my head down, it hits, and it falls over, and then I look up to see where the next one is. And that's how you don't hit your face when either pulling it onto your head, taking it off your head, or pancake. You see how I'm scooping my head into it, and it just misses my face on the way down. It's good.
It's great.
All right. How often do you hit rings on the ends of your fingers here? Pretty good.
No.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I was just doing this trick where I was learning, where I was spinning them like this and catching them here, and of course it kept on hitting here. But there's some good ways to make it so your fingers don't always get hit here. And one of the things is to keep them out, like this. It sounds so stupid, I mean it sounds stupidly obvious, but if you catch a ring with your fingers pointing up, if it goes if it's here, you're okay, and here, okay, but if it's there...
Or it goes here.
Yeah, well that's another trick, there's another thing for that one. But if it hits there, but what happens if you just open your fingers a bit more and it hits, it's almost impossible for it to dig in to exactly where I've got the bruises on. So what you need to do is here, that's the next thing though, is between the fingers. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst. The way that you need to do though is when you do a catch, if you spread your fingers wide, you're actually making these little slots for them to go into.
Yeah.
Whereas if you keep your fingers together like this, it's impossible for them to get caught. So you want to treat all 4 fingers as
one unit.
There's 1 unit. Yeah, as 1 unit. And it comes in here and it goes in here. So this is the thing. Fingers together, fingers out. This is the worst way to catch a ring, literally. If I try and catch a ring like that, it's like, it's gonna go wrong. Here, I see lots of people leave their little fingers dangling, and if you leave your little finger dangling, it is a perfect spot. All right, where else do you hurt yourself when you're ring juggling? You don't hurt yourself. You've obviously got perfect. You did my workshop.
I did this
thing between your fingers.
Oh, that is really nice.
Oh yeah, the web here. All right, so what you do is you see lots of people catch it, and they're catching it like on that point.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. It's gonna hurt. And you see people with gloves. I just saw someone on Instagram and he was juggling and he had these gloves on and then he hurt himself and he was like, give up ring juggling, and like yes and like as an answer on the Instagram stories. And I was like, and I was like, give up the gloves and learn good technique. And that's kind of what inspired this workshop, is like, don't wear gloves. What you need to do is when you're doing a catch, don't catch here, just tip your hand back just here. That's all you need. It's like not here.
Can you turn it to the right side? So
like this way.
Yeah.
So you can see
way better.
Okay.
Way
So and don't catch it here. Catch it here. So when you do a throw, it comes down and it's hitting this soft part of the hand.
Oh, so you're tipping your hand.
Yes, I'm tipping my hand. I'm tipping my hand back, and I'm catching it here, which means that people aren't really used to it because they catch clubs here, they catch balls here, and then they're like, oh, I'll just catch a ring, I'll turn it over, and what happens is the ring just hits time and time and time and time again. Not cool. Not cool. Tip your hand back like that. Okay. Anywhere else that you hurt yourself on? Oh yeah, and also miss this bone as well. Like here is good. Like that's a good thing.
That is the bone where I always catch with a club.
With a club, you keep hitting yourself there.
And then you can tell if you've learned the right technique, because then you get this little skin here.
Yeah, it's a little rough bit of skin
Yeah,
there.
I look like
You
a
feel it.
builder now, but at least I can catch.
All right, there's some things about throwing as well. If you throw with no spin, what happens?
Put it to the red side.
red side round. If you throw with no spin, what happens? It kind of wobbles in the air, and as it's coming down, it's got a bit of wobble on it, like that.
Yeah.
So if you throw it with no spin, it wobbles in the air. So when you throw it, it's always best to put a little bit of spin on it, and it just keeps it steady in the air. Like it keeps it not wobbling around in the air. But if you put too much spin on it, every time you're catching it, it's grinding against your hand,
Wow.
especially here. You want to be not doing that at all. Another thing that you can do.
So
what's up?
you're rotating it towards yourself.
Yeah, it's a bit of backspin on it, and it just keeps it steady in the air.
Okay.
Another thing that you've really got to do is keep your rings clean and smooth. All right, clean and smooth, because the more jagged they are, if you juggle them on like hard ground and they get nicks around the edge, it's like literally sandpaper. When I was at the tropical islands this year,
There's a new one.
a
Here
nice smooth edge. That's what you want. Here, these ones I have shaved out, like I've sanded down. You don't need to polish them. You don't need to polish it, but like the edges, when you buy them new, they'll often have these little edges. Actually, you can see it here. It's a little edge there. That kind of thing is on the outside as well. I probably can't see it with the video, but anyway, there is an edge there.
Yeah.
All right. Keep your rings clean and tidy. Another way that people hurt their fingers is, do you have any calluses here on the backs of your fingers? On the backs of your little fingers? No, not really. Got good technique, that's the thing. All right, so what happens is when people launch more than one ring from one hand, I'll turn them the red way round, okay?
Yes.
So they hold the ring here and they put the next one there, which means that when you throw this second ring, all of the pressure that you're putting onto this ring is actually being transferred through this finger and onto this ring, but most of it's going through that point, okay?
So if you have multiple, they are
And
all
then
going to be on
you
that
have
one
another
finger.
ring. What happens is the pressure that you're using to push down here goes through that ring, then through this finger, through that ring, and then onto that finger. And then when you get 4 rings there, what you've got is all the pressure and this pressure here that you have to grip really hard, because you're going to be doing 7 rings, and this first throw is really hard. Yeah, it gets transferred. Yeah, it's difficult to see, but it gets transferred through this.
Like really like.
Oh, right, this one.
No, straight on.
Oh, straight on. All right.
Straight on.
The pressure is going through this one, through that one, through that one, that one, and all of the pressure is going onto this little finger there.
Ouch.
And it really hurts when you're doing it over and over again, because it just grinds away at that one. So if you see anyone with big calluses here, it means they do a lot of numbers juggling, okay?
I used to have that a lot.
You used to have that, yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason why in my show I actually start my 7-ring pattern with a ring in my mouth isn't because it's funny, or it's funny, and it isn't because it's just easier. When I was training 7 rings, I was like, this is just hurting. Where can I put this ring? And I put it here, and I accidentally hit it, and it went across there. Oh, that was with 5 rings. And what's that? Kick up. But actually, one of the easiest things is here. All right. I just
These
remembered.
rings actually just disappear.
They just disappear. All right. Same thing. No, same thing. I'm going using that ring. There you go. Hey, I just thought of another thing. Come in, I'll tell you, show what you just did. What happens if you catch, I was doing before with catching 1 ring in your hand. You were doing this before with the 8 rings, were you? When you do the first catch, you don't try and catch the next ring in the same hand. Because if you try and do that, what you're actually doing is you're creating like a pair of scissors. It's like blade on blade.
Ouch.
So you catch that one, and then you're like, I'll catch it the way that I launched it, which is with your little finger in the middle. But don't do that, because when it comes down, you're literally just making like a guillotine for your little finger. So if you do catch 2 rings in one hand, you've got to open up your fingers all the way and catch the club. Can you see that? I'm opening your fingers all the way and catch the ring.
Yes.
And then,
I actually catch them in a different way.
yeah? How do you catch them?
I catch them like that, and then I drop them.
Oh, that was my next thing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is what I'm coming to. This is what I just did with the 7 rings.
Okay.
Is that I caught them, and each time I catch the ring, the next ring comes down, and you just let go of it, and it'll just fall around your hand.
That's the handy thing with rings, right?
Only with rings, yeah. But this is why someone juggled 12 rings before they juggled 12 balls, because you can do 12 rings with any rings, but with balls you need like the right size balls.
Yeah.
And Anthony Gatto never used the right size balls, but with rings it doesn't matter. Also, so that's super important for the catching. So ways to catch lots of rings is actually catch them, put them down over your head, and you know how to do that without hurting your hands, but never catch a ring and then try and catch another ring and try and catch another ring and leave your fingers in between, because I actually just hurt myself doing that.
Well done.
Another way to hurt yourself is how else do you hurt yourself?
How is it possible not to hurt yourself?
Oh, how is it possible not to hurt yourself? Here's the thing. I just did some tricks with 7 rings. All right. The way that I've hurt myself doing 7 rings is just doing 7 rings and just training 7 rings. There's a lot of energy in a pattern. Like the more height that you put on something and the more objects are up there, it's just the more energy is in the pattern. It's just physics. And all that energy has to go somewhere. And so if it hits you like on the side of the head or on the collarbone, or the collarbone.
On your nose.
On
which
your
I've
nose?
done before.
Yeah.
I broke my nose with a ring, it was great.
Yeah. Knees, like ankles, toes and stuff like that. So if you're doing tricks which you can't do, which are way beyond your ability, you're more likely to hurt yourself. Which is why I have never learned 5 rings, 5 up pirouettes. I've learned them with balls, I've learned them with clubs, but with rings I'm just like, no way. Screw that. I'm not gonna put that much energy in the air, spin around, turn around and just hope it's all gonna come into my hands rather than into my shoulder blades and stuff like that. So one of my big things to talk about when you're learning rings and you want to do it not without pain is learn pancakes. Yeah, like because pancakes
Some pancakes next to each other.
they're just super smooth and they just flip around and it doesn't matter. Even if it comes down and hits you on the head, it's probably not going to hurt too much because it's not hitting you knife ways on. It's hitting you. It's like when you see sword fighting, they're like, I'll hit you with the flat of the sword, and that's what's happening. You're always being hit with the flat of the sword, and there's just not enough momentum in these rings to actually like really hurt. But if I was doing that same trick this way and throwing that, all of the pressure is going from one spot into my brain. Whereas here, I don't mind like bouncing it off my head. I'm not even going to do it for the camera. I'm not even gonna.
Important. They look pretty.
What?
They look pretty.
Pancakes look pretty. So the way that it hurt my fingers hit like this is because I was trying a trick which I can't do, which is the vertical axis pancake like this, and I was trying this with 5 rings, and it turns out that's first of all really, really difficult, but also there's so much energy in it, and it's coming down exactly as I was saying. It's coming down in this sort of like floppier thing, and because I'm putting so much onto it, and it's with my left hand, it was coming down in this kind of twisty way, and I was putting my hand out because you can't just catch it normally. You've got to like it's coming round, and that's why I got these bruises. I was doing a trick that I can't do, which is full of energy, too much energy. Anyway, I think that's the end of the workshop.
I have 2 questions.
What's the question?
Can you not just put foam around the edges?
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you need the secureness. If you know, I've got the aerobie, the throwing disc, it's like the rubber stuff, but it doesn't give you the control you need. You actually need proper control in it. You can't have it flopping around because then we might as well just juggle cushions, which is actually really cool.
Also, they get so heavy that you actually it hurts your wrists and it doesn't feel nice, and they get even heavier. So then if you throw them high and then they hit you.
Yeah.
Okay.
David from Play came up with these silicone ring condoms, which like these things that went around the edges of them. But what happens is it just shows you what's that? A play ring? Yeah, but it was a play, but it had like a silicone like semicircular or like a circular thing that went around them.
Attach it to
and you could just slip them on there, and you're like, oh, it's going to be great, and you could do it. But it just showed how much pressure went through because after about a few hours of practicing, I'd broken them all because every time that they hit anything, all of the pressure went straight through onto the silicone rubber thing and just cut straight through, and they just snapped and they were gone. And that's why you've never bought them. They've never been available for sale because it's impossible to make something strong enough, rubber that goes strong enough to hold the weight of the ring. If it hits something, the rubber would just be destroyed. And that's how much energy there is there. Okay. Second question.
Not a question, a request. Could you both just stand next to each other and juggle pancakes?
Oh, okay. Oh, say when.
When?
No. I was gonna say. Go for it.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Bum, bum, bum. Well, what do we do? We keep doing this.
What are we doing?
You just go finish at some point.
Okay. Is that it? Is that the end of the video?
That's the end of the video.
I was hoping to end the video with me actually getting that trick with the 5 rings, 5 up Vertex pancakes.
You can give it a try.
I've got 20. I've got about 23 minutes to get the trick.
You want to hurt yourself even more?
Just do it.
It actually really hurt the other day, but I'm going to get it.
Just do it.
That was really good.
That was really close.
That was it.
Here it comes, last attempt. Here it comes, I feel it. Did you see me? I got that trick. It was really good that I managed to get the trick, wasn't it? All right, I just want to say thank you for Kathrin for joining in with this video, and thanks for Juliana for filming, and also thanks to all the Patreons on Patreon. patreon.com/Luke Burridge if you want to support this kind of video, fun workshops with this one, Painless ring juggling, maybe Mill's Mess next time. Anyway, thanks a lot. Yeah, let's do it.